A billionaire lost his memory in a car crash and lived as a poor man for 8 months, falling in love with a nurse who saved his life. But when he remembered everything, what he did next shocked everyone. Before we begin, comment below which city you're watching from. And when we finish, rate this story from 0 to 10. David Sterling was only 34 years old, yet he was already one of the youngest billionaires in the tech world. As the CEO and founder of Sterling Tech, David's net worth was $2.8 billion. He lived in a $50 million penthouse overlooking Central Park in Manhattan, kept 12 luxury cars in his garage, and traveled the world in his private jet. But David's life was a golden cage. Every morning began the same way. At 5:30 a.m., automatic curtains woke him. He drank coffee prepared by Chef Marcus, worked out for 45 minutes, then put on his $2,000 Italian suit and $50,000 Rolex. His penthouse was filled with luxury, Italian marble floors, antique furniture, famous paintings. But David was oblivious to these beauties. For him, they were just status symbols with no emotional value. His office on the 47th floor of Manhattan's most prestigious skyscraper offered magnificent views of New York, the Hudson River, Central Park, Brooklyn Bridge. All the city's beauties lay beneath his feet. But he never really saw any of it. His eyes were always on computer screens focused on stock charts. David's assistant Jennifer greeted him every morning. She was 28, Harvard Business School graduate, highly successful. But their relationship was cold and professional. They'd worked together 2 years, but David didn't know her birthday or anything about her family. "Good morning, Mr. Sterling," Jennifer would say. "You have 8 meetings today." "Okay, Jennifer. Prepare my coffee," David would reply without looking up. David's days were packed with meetings. Board meetings, investor presentations, acquisitions. Every meeting involved millions or billions of dollars. David was cold, calculating, ruthless. He called competitors enemies and employees resources. "We need to acquire XYZ Corp," he would say. "Fire their CEO, lay off 60% of workforce. This saves us $500 million annually." No one objected. David's word was law at Sterling Tech. He lunched at expensive restaurants, Le Bernardin, 11 Madison Park, paying $300 to $400 per meal. But he didn't taste the food, talking business while eating. David had no friends, only business partners. Investment bankers like Marcus Johnson, entrepreneurs like Richard Blackwood, hedge fund managers like Amanda Stone. Everyone wanted something: investment, partnership, donations. "David, invest $50 million in my hedge fund," Richard would say. "Guaranteed 20% return." David was so accustomed to this, he'd forgotten genuine friendship. He thought he had nothing in common with anyone except money. Evenings, David returned to his penthouse alone. In his 200 square meter living room, he'd sit before his 85-inch TV, sipping $500 wine while studying stock charts. Sometimes he met model escorts, but these were just physical needs. David's family was equally money-focused. His mother, Martha Sterling, was Manhattan society royalty. At 58, she maintained her appearance with plastic surgery and appeared at gala events using David for fundraising. "David, there's a children's gala next week," she'd say. "Come and donate $5 million. Your photos will be in newspapers." His father, Robert, a retired investment banker, spent life at golf clubs giving David investment advice. His brother, Michael, constantly asked for money for failed startups. "This time is different," Michael would say. "An AI-powered pet delivery app. I only need $10 million. David gave money every time because this was his only family connection. Money. They had nothing else. No vacation memories, childhood memories, emotions. David's romantic life was equally empty. He'd had serious relationships, but they all ended because of money. Victoria Hamilton left him after 2 years. "You're so boring," she said. "You only talk business." His last relationship was with Isabella Rodriguez, a beautiful art historian. David thought he was happy with her, but she was only interested in his art collection and donations. When David discovered this, he was hurt, but didn't show emotions. Since then, David had lost faith in love. Love is a luxury for poor people, he'd say. For the rich, there are only transactions. That Tuesday evening, David drove home from his office. It was 11:30 p.m. Manhattan traffic had lightened. Sitting in his Lamborghini Aventador, he videoconferenced with his Tokyo office. The dashboard looked like a spaceship, the 500-horsepower engine purring quietly. On screen was Hiroshi Tanaka, Sterling Tech's Japan regional manager. Tanaka was 50, very experienced, responsible for all Asian operations. "Mr. Sterling, we must sign the Sony deal tomorrow," Tanaka said respectfully but firmly. "This will permanently strengthen our Asian position." David drove at 100 miles per hour on 3rd Avenue while reviewing Sony deal details on his tablet. "Tanaka, what's the total value?" "750 million first phase, sir. Over 5 years, 2.1 billion total. With software licensing, we're talking 4.5 billion. David's eyes lit up. These numbers excited him. "Excellent, Tanaka. This makes Sterling Tech world leader. Sign immediately." "But there's a problem. Sony's CEO Yamamoto wants to meet personally. No video call." David got annoyed. "My time is valuable. There must be a serious reason to fly to Tokyo. Yamamoto is traditional. He won't make big deals without face-to-face meetings. He calls it trust building." David considered. Flying to Tokyo for 4.5 billion made sense. "Okay, I'm coming tomorrow on my private jet." While talking, David completely ignored the road. GPS voices, phone conversation, music filled the car. His left hand held the phone, right hand coffee, eyes on the tablet. A Mack truck from the opposite direction started changing lanes. The driver, Joe Martinez, had been driving 3 days, was tired, lost concentration momentarily. The truck drifted toward David's lane. David looked up and saw the 40-ton truck. His heart nearly stopped. "Tanaka, I have to go," he screamed, dropping the phone. He hit brakes, but too late. The Lamborghini couldn't stop at 100 miles per hour. He turned left but couldn't avoid hitting the truck's side. Bang! Metal screeching, glass breaking, burning rubber, airbag explosion. David's world flipped instantly. The car tumbled, skidded across asphalt, finally stopped hitting a tree. The last thing he remembered was Tanaka screaming, "Sterling-san! Daijoubu desu ka?" Then darkness. Ambulance sirens, police sirens, fire trucks, major accident in Manhattan. David Sterling's Lamborghini was unrecognizable. When David opened his eyes, everything was different. White walls, antiseptic smell, distant hospital sounds. His head felt like hammers working. Every body part ached. Core in left arm, EKG wires on chest, bandages on forehead. A woman in white coat stood beside him. About 28, long brown hair and simple bun, compassionate blue eyes. No makeup but naturally beautiful. "Hello," she said softly. "I'm Sarah Mitchell, your nurse. How are you feeling?" David tried speaking, but his mouth felt stuffed with cotton. After several attempts, he whispered, "Where am I?" "Chicago General Hospital." "You were in a serious car accident. You've been in coma 3 days. Our doctors were very worried." David looked around. This room was smaller than his penthouse bathroom. Simple hospital bed, plastic chair, small TV, metal cabinet. Everything so ordinary. "Who am I?" David asked, making Sarah's heart ache. Deep sadness appeared on Sarah's face. Doctors had warned her, but hearing it was still difficult. "Your name is David. Your wallet was damaged, but we learned your name from ID. Unfortunately, you have memory loss." David ... David repeated like a foreign word. "Is this really my name?" "Yes. Dr. Wilson examined you. Excellent neurologist. He says your memory will return. It's temporary." David examined the room. From the window, he saw Chicago's ordinary buildings. No magnificent Manhattan skyscrapers. "Is this my home?" Sarah hesitated. When ambulance brought David, he was in terrible condition. Clothes torn and bloody. Everything was lost or damaged. Expensive watch, wallet, cards, phone. "This is a hospital room. You're receiving treatment here." But where's my real home, my family? Why hasn't anyone called? Sarah's heart tightened. Really, no one had called. Police investigated, but without identification, search was difficult. No one's called yet. Maybe you don't have close family. Or they're looking but can't find you. David thought deeply. Am I poor? Did I live alone? Sarah didn't know how to answer. David's accident appearance resembled a homeless person. Let's not discuss this now. Focus on recovery. Dr. Wilson will explain your condition. That night, David couldn't sleep. Thousands of questions, but no answers. He watched Chicago lights from the window. The city seemed familiar, but he didn't know why. In dreams, he saw luxury cars, big offices, suited people, but couldn't understand what they meant. Sarah couldn't sleep either. David's condition affected her greatly. So sad that such a young man lost everything with no one looking for him. Next morning, Dr. Wilson examined David. He was 60. Highly respected neurologist with 30 years experience, one of Chicago's best doctors. David, you have serious head trauma, but brain scans look relatively normal. Very good news, Dr. Wilson said professionally. Your memory loss will probably be temporary. When will it return, doctor? Varies greatly. Some patients recover in days, others take months. But patience is important. Stress slows recovery. David nodded. Doctor, who am I really? What life did I have? Why hasn't anyone called? Dr. Wilson checked files. Unfortunately, little information. No identification found at accident scene. We only learned your name from hospital records. Police investigating, but nothing yet. So I'm really alone? Appears so now. But this isn't bad. Sometimes we must make fresh starts. 2 weeks later, David would leave the hospital. But big problem. Where would he go? No home, money, family. When Sarah learned this, she took action. David, I talked to hospital director Dr. Anderson. You can work here as a worker, Sarah said in his room. David's eyes lit with hope. Really, Sarah? What work? Cleaning worker. Salary isn't much, minus $2,500 monthly. But hospital gives you a small room, free cafeteria meals. David received this like winning the lottery. Sarah, this is great. Wonderful offer. Thank you so much. Sarah was surprised by David's sincere, joyful reaction. This man could be so happy working for $2,500. Such simple offer made him this happy. David's hospital room was small, 3x4 space. Basement, windowless, only ventilation holes. Inside, single metal bed, small cabinet, sink, work desk. When David entered, he was happy as entering Buckingham Palace. This is my home, he said with sparkling eyes. My real home. I don't remember ever living somewhere so beautiful. Sarah smiled. David's innocence seemed very sweet. David's first workday was complete experience. Sarah showed him cleaning supplies, detergent bottles, mop, broom, trash bags, disinfectant sprays. David examined these like studying alien technology. How is this used? He asked about the mop, like examining complex machinery. Sarah smiled, patiently showing him. Like this, David, taking his hands, practically demonstrating mop use. Don't press hard, slowly, circular movements. Not too much water or floor stays wet. David's heart beat rapidly with Sarah's touch. This feeling seemed familiar, but he didn't know why. Sarah's hands were so warm, real, human. David's first day performance was complete disaster. He mixed the detergent wrong, causing foam explosion, made floor dirtier with mop, put trash bags in wrong places, knocked over cleaning carts scattering supplies. But he never complained, constantly tried learning, stayed positive. When elderly patient Harold Thompson saw David working, he asked laughing, Son, first time doing this job? Yes, sir. I lost my memory, learning everything new. Harold was impressed by David's sincerity. Son, you seem very good-hearted. There's purity in your eyes. God bless you. These words warmed David's heart. No one had ever treated him so sincerely and warmly. As weeks passed, David learned his job and began loving it. Every morning, he'd wake at 6 o'clock without alarm, put on work clothes at 6:30, start work at 7 o'clock. He cleaned hospital rooms, corridors, bathrooms, stairwells. His hands got calluses, back ached, but strangely he was very happy. "Why get up so early, David?" Hospital guard Jim Patterson asked one day. "Because I love my job, Jim. I feel like I'm helping people." Jim worked at hospital 30 years but never saw such positive cleaning worker. His happiest moments were encountering Sarah. Sarah talked to him daily, asked how he was, gave work advice. Sometimes they'd have tea together in cafeteria. The 15 minutes Sarah spent with David during breaks was his day's most beautiful time. "David, do you really love your job?" Sarah asked one lunchtime in cafeteria. "Love it very much, Sarah. I feel like I'm helping people." "Yesterday, cleaning little Emma's room," she said. "Thank you, cleaning man. You made my room beautiful. That moment I felt like most valuable person in world." Sarah admired David's innocence and sincerity. In modern world, very rare to encounter such pure-hearted, genuine person. "David, really don't remember anything about your past?" "Remember nothing, Sarah? Sometimes in dreams I see big offices, suited people, fast cars, meeting tables, but don't know what they mean. Maybe things I saw on TV." Sarah smiled. "Maybe you were very ambitious, wanted to be successful in business." "This life feels much more real now," David said. "Yesterday Mrs. Johnson asked for tea. When I brought it, she was so happy, patted my hand and said, 'God bless you, young man. Don't remember ever doing anything this meaningful.'" Sarah's heart melted at David's words. David's innocence and sincerity, ability to make human connections seemed very attractive. The purity in David's eyes, that sincerity, vulnerability, Sarah was beginning to realize she was falling in love. David had also begun having special feelings for Sarah. Sarah's smile brightened his day. Talking with her made David happiest man in world. Hearing Sarah's voice, seeing her, spending time with her was day's most beautiful moment. One day, David decided doing something special for Sarah. He picked most beautiful flowers from hospital garden and left them on Sarah's desk at nurse station. He wrote small note in his handwriting. "To Sarah, thank you for bringing me back to life. You are my angel, David." When Sarah saw this surprise, her eyes filled with tears. No one in her life had ever made such sincere, heartfelt gesture. By second month's end, very strong emotional bond formed between David and Sarah. David was no longer just work colleague, but Sarah's closest friend. David continued making small surprises, preparing her favorite Earl Grey tea, writing funny notes, making small origami toys for sick children. One evening after shift ended, Sarah found David in hospital garden. David sat on bench watching sunset. Sun cast beautiful colors through clouds in Chicago's gray sky. "David, what are you doing here?" Sarah asked, sitting next to him. "Just thinking, Sarah. Thinking how beautiful this life is. Even watching sunset gives me great happiness." Sarah sat beside him. David being so happy from such simple pleasures seemed very touching. "What are you thinking about?" "Thinking about you, Sarah, about feelings I have for you." Sarah's heart started beating rapidly. David ... "Sarah, I'm in love with you," David said very sincerely. "I know this might seem sudden, but it's real. You've given meaning to my life. Without you, this world means nothing." Sarah looked into David's eyes. No lie, manipulation, calculation. Only pure, clean, genuine love. "I love you too, David," Sarah said with tears. "But is this right? You lost your memory. What if real David is different? What if you were a bad person in past?" David moved closer to Sarah. "Sarah, I am real David. Maybe past David was different, but current David is your David. I'm in love with you, and this is authentic feeling." Their first kiss happened that evening in moonlight in hospital garden among flowers. David didn't remember ever experiencing such pure, real, meaningful emotion. Sarah never experienced such sincere, emotional kissing either. In third month, Sarah invited David to her home. Sarah lived in small two-bedroom apartment in Lincoln Park, working class area. Home was simple but warm. Every corner had Sarah's personality. Books, plants, family photos, handmade decorations, vintage furniture. "David, if you want, You can move here, Sarah said. We can share rent cost. You don't need to live in hospital room anymore. This is much more comfortable. David received this offer with great happiness, like winning Olympic gold medal. Sarah, this is incredible. But, I don't want to disturb your life. You already live beautifully organized life. David, you're not disturbing my life. You're giving meaning to my life. Without you, this house is just sleeping place. With you, it becomes real home. David moved to Sarah's house. For first time, he'd live in real home, real relationship. Sarah taught him life's basic things with love and infinite patience: cooking, washing dishes, doing laundry, grocery shopping, budgeting, paying bills. David loved learning these simple domestic tasks. When he learned cracking eggs, he was happy as child and showed Sarah. When he made first scrambled eggs, he proudly presented them to Sarah. Sarah, look, I made scrambled eggs, and they didn't burn. Sarah constantly smiled at David's innocent enthusiasm. This man was happy, as if accomplishing something for first time in life. Evenings, they'd watch Netflix. He'd lean on Sarah's shoulder, gently stroke her hair. Sarah would read him classic novels. David loved these books very much, especially love stories. Sarah, he said one evening while listening to Pride and Prejudice, is love in these books like what I feel for you? How do you feel, David? Like my heart always wants to beat next to yours. Like first person I want to see when I open my eyes is you, like entire world was created for your smile. Like breathing would be meaningless if you weren't here. Sarah was very moved by David's poetic words. No one in her life ever said such beautiful, heartfelt things. In 4th month, strange things began happening. While David worked at hospital, he sometimes encountered people who recognized him. These encounters confused David, but he didn't pay much attention. One day, hospital director Dr. Anderson saw David in corridor and froze. Dr. Anderson was 55, very experienced doctor well known in Chicago's medical circles. He was also active in upper-class social circles. Are you ... aren't you David Sterling? He said with complete shock. David was surprised. I'm just David. Don't remember last name. Do you know me? Dr. Anderson stared at David in confusion. You look very similar ... but this is impossible. David Sterling disappeared months ago ... What do I look like, doctor? Nothing ... nothing. Sorry, I confused you with someone else. Dr. Anderson walked away, mind full of question marks. News of David Sterling's disappearance shocked all Chicago. Billionaire businessman's sudden vanishing was big mystery, but this man was cleaning crew member. Same day, hospital security chief Bill Roberts also observed David strangely. Bill worked in security 20 years, very skilled at remembering faces. Hey David, where are you from? He asked casually. Don't know, Bill. I lost my memory. You seem very familiar. Could I have seen you somewhere? David shrugged. Maybe I have ordinary face. Bill laughed, but had doubts in mind. Sarah began noticing these incidents. People recognizing David made her think. Maybe David really was someone well known from Chicago. Maybe he was famous. That evening, while Sarah waited for David at home, she opened computer. She typed David Chicago missing and searched. When she saw results, she was completely shocked. Tech billionaire David Sterling missing for 4 months. Sarah clicked news and saw David's photo, in shoot with serious expression. This was definitely David. But how? Sarah continued reading. Sterling Tech founder and CEO David Sterling disappeared after traffic accident 4 months ago. Sterling, who has $2.8 billion wealth, whereabouts still unknown. FBI conducting investigation. Sarah dropped phone. Man she loved, man living in same house, man who cleaned at hospital, ... was $2.8 billion billionaire. Sarah couldn't sleep entire night. While David slept innocently beside her, Sarah was going crazy. She knew David's real identity, but how would she tell him? David was very happy now. He loved simple life, loved job, loved Sarah, but was this fair? David had billion-dollar company, family searching for him, business partners worried. But other hand, Sarah loved this version of David very much. This David was much more real, much more human. What kind of person was rich David? Would he love Sarah? Would he terminate relationship for money? Next morning when David was going to work, he found Sarah thoughtful. Something wrong, Sarah? You're very quiet today. David, I need to tell you something important. David got worried. What happened, Sarah? Is there a problem? Sarah looked into David's innocent eyes. No lie, no calculation in those eyes. David, Exactly that moment, David's phone rang. Hospital Director Dr. Anderson. David, can you come to my office urgently? Very important matter. David looked at Sarah. Sarah, what were you going to say? We'll talk later, David. First go to doctor. When David went to Dr. Anderson's office, there was also FBI agent. Agent Robert Hayes was investigating David Sterling case. David, please sit, Dr. Anderson said very seriously. David sat and waited anxiously. Dr. Anderson spread David's old photos, ID documents, newspaper clippings on desk. David, your real identity is David Sterling. You're one of biggest names in technology world. David looked at photos. Is this ... really me? Yes, David. You're founder and CEO of Sterling Tech Company. You have net worth of $2.8 billion. Agent Hayes leaned forward. Mr. Sterling, we've been looking for you 4 months. Your family, company, FBI, everyone wondering what happened to you. David looked at photos again. Suited, serious-looking man. Is this really me? Because I don't remember anything. Dr. Anderson showed him more photos from old life. Luxury penthouse, expensive cars, private jets, corporate meetings. This is also your penthouse in Manhattan, worth $50 million. David got confused seeing these photos. Did I live in such place? Yes, David. And your company is waiting. Board of directors, investors, employees, everyone wants you to return. Agent Hayes handed David folder. This is your financial status. Bank accounts, investments, properties, everything here. David opened folder and looked at numbers. Millions, billions. These numbers meant nothing to him. Am I really this rich? Yes, Mr. Sterling. You're one of richest people in world. David remained silent while. Then asked, so what kind of person was I? Was I good person? Dr. Anderson and Agent Hayes looked at each other. This was a difficult question. You were very successful businessman, Dr. Anderson said diplomatically. But was I good person? Did I help people? Was I loving person? No one could give proper answer to this question. Dr. Anderson referred David to psychiatrist Dr. Emma Clark. Dr. Clark was experienced doctor specialized in memory loss. In first therapy session, Dr. Clark showed David videos from old life. Old David's interviews, meeting recordings, TV appearances from Sterling Tech's establishment. In videos, David was completely different. Cold, calculating, ruthless. He talked about nothing but money and success. Is this man me? David asked with horror. Yes, you were on Forbes cover 3 years ago. You were called Technology's Golden Boy. Blurry images began appearing in David's head. Office meetings, numbers, deals, plans to crush competitors. But these seemed very distant. In second session, Dr. Clark showed more personal videos. Family birthday parties, gala nights, society events. Even in these videos, David was distant and cold. Your family is in video, David. Your mother, father, brother. David looked at people in video but felt no emotional connection. Did I love them? This ... only you can know, David. In third session, details from David's business life were shown. Moments when he fired employees, meetings where he acquired rival companies, cold businessman personality. David, whose memory completely returned, realized how empty old life had been. He had no real friends, only people trying to use him. No genuine love, only transactional relationships. But same time, Sterling Tech had thousands of employees. Family had expectations. He had billions of dollars in responsibilities. David's mind was confused. Which David was real David? Rich cold businessman or cleaning worker, loving David? He ran to Sarah. Sarah, I remembered everything. Sarah's face went pale. I also discovered who you are, David. Doesn't matter, Sarah. This doesn't change anything. I love you. But David, you're billionaire. What business do you have in my world? Sarah, last 4 months were most beautiful period of my life. For first time, I experienced real love. For first time, someone loved me for my heart, not money. Sarah looked at David with tears. But what kind of person was old David? Would he have loved me too? David stopped. He didn't know answer to this question himself. After David's identity was revealed, old life began calling him back. Company partners, lawyers, board members, even family. Everyone wanted David to immediately return to old life. Assistant Jennifer came to hospital. Mr. Sterling, thank God we found you. Company experienced huge losses in your absence. David looked at Jennifer. Woman he saw daily 4 months ago now seemed very strange. Jennifer ... how are you? I'm fine, sir, but company isn't. Tokyo deal cancelled, Sony partnership collapsed. Stock prices dropped 40%. You need to return immediately. Hearing this news, David's old identity began activating, billions of dollars in losses. This was very serious situation. Lawyer Michael Stone also came. David, 20 different lawsuits filed in your favor. Because your identity was uncertain, now we need to solve these. What kind of lawsuits? Inheritance lawsuits, corporate disputes, contract violations. In your absence, everyone tried to grab peace from Sterling Tech. David's head was getting confused. One side was Surah and simple happy life. Other side were billions of dollars in responsibilities. Family also came. Mother Martha, Father Robert, Brother Michael. David's son. Thank God we found you, Mother said, crying. But when David looked at family, he felt no emotional connection. They also seemed foreign. Mother, I have changed a lot. Have you changed? How have you changed? I'm no longer old David. Father Robert started talking business. David, company is in very difficult situation. You need to return to Manhattan immediately. Your penthouse is ready, cars waiting in garage. Hearing these words, David experienced internal conflict. Old life was calling him, but he didn't want to lose new life either. That evening, David and Sarah had their conversation at home. Both knew this could change everything. Sarah, I've made my decision, David said. Sarah's heart stopped. What decision? I don't want to return to old life. But David, you're a billionaire. It's your obligation to undertake these responsibilities. Sarah, in last 4 months I learned that money doesn't bring happiness. Do you know what you mean to me? Real love, real friendship, real living. Sarah started crying. But David, this isn't fair. Thousands of people's jobs are in your company. It's your obligation to think about them. David thought deeply about these words. Sarah was right. Sterling Tech had 15,000 employees. They had families, children. But Sarah, what if I go back and transform into old David? What if I lose you? David, if you really love me, you'll love me under any condition. These words shattered David's heart. Sarah was both supporting him and taking risk of loss. David couldn't sleep entire night. He thought until morning. He had 2 options. 1. Return to old life. Billions of dollars, power, influence, but loneliness. 2. Continue new life. Love, happiness, simplicity, but abandoning responsibilities. By morning, David had made decision. He went to hospital and found Dr. Anderson. Dr. Anderson, as David Sterling, I've made decision. I'm listening, David. I want to transfer control of Sterling Tech to professional managers, but I'll remain as company owner. Dr. Anderson was surprised. What does this mean? This means I won't be CEO anymore, but I'll determine company's vision. And I'm going to make $100 million donation to this hospital. David, this is incredible, but why? Because in last 4 months I realized that real wealth isn't money, it's love. And I love Sarah. David transferred CEO position at Sterling Tech to VP Jennifer Brooks, company's most talented manager. He remained as company's visionary chairman, but he made real surprise to Sarah. Sarah, I want to marry you. Sarah was surprised. David, but you're billionaire ... and you're a woman I love. Money doesn't change our love. David proposed to Sarah with simple but beautiful ring. This ring isn't from Tiffany, it's from small jeweler in Chicago. Because it's simple and real, just like our love. Sarah said yes with tears. Their wedding was held with small ceremony in hospital garden. Guests were hospital staff, patients who became David's new friends and Sarah's family. It wasn't luxury wedding, but very meaningful one. David gave speech at wedding. 4 months ago, I had accident and lost my memory. But actually in that accident, I found most valuable thing, real love. After wedding, David and Sarah's life changed but preserved its simplicity. David now only worked at Sterling Tech 2 days per week, spending remaining time with Sarah and managing social responsibility projects. David announced he would donate 90% of his wealth to charity organizations. Remaining 10% was still millions of dollars and more than enough for them.